All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Bunny Girl Senpai, Season 1, Episode 12.
Qaeda.
Qaeda!
Yeah.
Oh, little sister, we've got to protect her, but she's lost her memories from that time.
Yep.
Because that was really tough.
Uh-huh.
But
now a schoolmate's here.
yeah, we've got someone coming in from the past who...
when everything was going so well.
Yeah,
hopefully this doesn't
might just unravel things.
Throw things off, but...
Yeah, however, we've got a lot of good people surrounding Qaeda.
That's right.
And they'll be ready to help her.
And after all, she has been regularly charging up on her Oni-chan power.
That is true. That is true. And
Yeah.
it is quite effective. It is going to shield her properly. But let's go. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Ah!
Yeah.
Why are we still here?
Just
to suffer every night.
Can
I
feel
feel
my
my legs, my arms,
even my fingers.
the bruises that I've taken.
The memories that I've lost.
Yeah.
The sisters that I've lost.
Oh my
They're all
god.
still there. They won't stop.
Okay, so recap. We get the backstory empirically stated.
Uh-huh.
Sakata giving it
Exactly
to
what happened.
Mai and her sister.
First puberty syndrome encounter and all that stuff, how his
But
situation
his
started.
immediately followed up on that.
Right,
So
it was
one of
in
the
response.
one
yeah.
of the things that clarifies here is a couple things about like, well, why it probably popped up. So there's a clarification I want to make sure I have correctly here.
Yeah.
The thing that happened with his mom happened before his puberty syndrome popped up.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So he popped up
Right.
with the insane stress of this whole situation
Yeah.
once his mom started to break down mentally.
Exactly. The general perspective I've had on it, and I'm sure you'll have a different one because as many perspectives as people and whatnot, but is that he sees the effect this is having on the people around him and his parents and everything,
Yep.
and he wishes that he could do something. He wishes he could sort of bear the burden, and then as a result of that,
Yeah.
he then gets the cuts, and then he ends up after that actually, bearing the burden of raising Qaeda, basically.
Yeah. I very much like the idea that, again, it's something where the doctors have an explanation for it, that even though they are puzzled by it because it's very extreme, like it would have to be him, like literally all like 4 nails or something, like carving like
or
hard.
something potentially bigger,
Oh,
like,
no, totally.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that, like, if it was him without any tools, basically,
Right,
in his bed at night,
Yep.
that's how it probably happened, unless he literally, like, walked out,
got something. And
got something, yeah.
Yep.
So, all that dark stuff being said, this is something that hits very close to home, because I totally have experience, along with Jacob has experience, with seeing the mental trauma
Yeah.
and emotional trauma of someone being in a hospitalized kind of situation, and it's actively causing them pain,
yeah.
but you can't do anything about it, and also the doctors can't do anything about it.
Right.
So it's just, how does your life adjust accordingly?
Like and Caleb used the word trauma. That is not lightly or for the sake of making a poetic point or whatever.
Nope.
Like
It's just-
it is
it's
it is
reality.
it is to the point where even after something there are few things worse than seeing someone you love suffer and you can't actually help them. You can
can't
try
help.
and be there for them or whatever, but you can't actually help them. You can't change their situation, right?
Like, you can't even do, like, physical things for them to make it easier.
Right,
Like, you
exactly.
can't.
It's that is hell, right?
Yeah, it's the worst.
And it causes all kinds of stress and stuff on the people around this, because how the hell do you deal with that?
Yeah.
And to the point where even after it's gone, if it ever goes away, just the memory of it is enough to basically pretty much generate like PTSD type stuff.
Oh,
like,
it did.
Or straight up.
It did. There were multiple members in our family that at the time very much basically went through the effects of PTSD once things started to wind down with what had happened to our mom. And the one who it affected, of course, I would say the most in an empirical sense is our father.
Right.
And that was...
Yeah,
it was mind-blowing to see how he survived.
So while there is all this puberty syndrome stuff that is a physical manifestation and whatnot of the things that are happening,
right?
This arc and the situations in this arc are probably, at the very least, they hit the closest to home for us.
They're the most relatable.
They're the most relatable for us, but I would say...
Because it can sunder the family.
Yeah, it can absolutely sunder the family, and it's not that unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic at
it's
all.
The only things is the visual representations of the stuff, right? But But
even then,
yeah.
The fact that we now saw the bruises live being growing from his perspective,
and as that happens, it's like, oh yeah, no, it's not just regardless of whether or not Qaeda's getting bullied now. What do you think she's doing to herself? The fact that she heard him talk about, to Mai, of, now I'm worried, if her memories do come back, what happens to the Qaeda that I've known over the last 2 years? Does she just disappear? What happens, And
where we're at right now with the episode ending with her basically regressing, we don't know entirely what memories were adjusted here.
Nope.
There's no way of knowing whether or not this is something where it's just remember the Qaeda before?
Yeah,
just
from
middle
2 years
school?
ago? Yeah.
This is her. Or, the Qaeda that's been the last 2 years up till now, up till the last, couple weeks, or something.
Right.
That's this Qaeda. Or it's this is Qaeda with all of her memories.
Right.
But
regardless, it's something that to Sakata is a, who are you? Down to the point of the voice changing a ton.
The voice did change.
The mannerisms and the way of speaking being totally different, and no longer using that sort of cutesy voice, which if you think about it, given the fact that that's something that changes with memories, that might be a bit telling, because then that would imply that voice was a cutesy voice that Qaeda put on as a way to try and make it seem like everything was okay. And then all of a sudden, now that she doesn't remember whatever the struggles were that were happening, over the last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
That's gone.
Right. We might have reverted even back before the bullying.
Possibly.
To where this is just who she was originally.
Yep.
And she was kind of playful and fun. And she's like, Oni-chan, yeah.
But no Oni-chan complex or anything like that, because it's just hey, bro, you know.
What's up?
Yeah. Right. Now, there's nothing from how Qaeda was acting that seems like it's inherently dysfunctional or anything. And in fact, it seems totally normal. But where's the sister I knew? Where? Hold on.
Yeah.
Do I have to get to know you all over again?
Yep.
Wait, is this happening again? This might seem harmless right now, but this could be just the precursor to something else horrible that's about to. I'm not going to have to go through that again, am I?
Yeah, and this is the pain and fear of someone who's in the situation of the caretaker.
Right.
Is that there are times where you begin to hope that progress is being made. And you have an extreme amount of patience and grace with the person for whenever they fall back on their progress, right? Because you've seen it happen plenty of times, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing that you can start to lose and get jaded about is basically the idea that whenever progress is made, you kind of go, that's okay, I'm not allowed to celebrate here.
Right.
Because it's probably going to be redacted, or it's going to be...
There's going to be a regression.
Undone, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I can't trust it.
I can't trust it.
Yep.
Now, the difference here is that Sakuta has had very large seasons of time with nothing happening.
That's true.
Which gives him, in some ways, a safety measure for his own feelings being, kind of kept in check.
Right.
Now, the fact that we've had now 2 big switches in a short period of time is going to really test Sakuta.
Yeah.
Because he might not have any defense for this. He might not be ready for this. And the this is a very important thing that the story keeps doing. It's very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
But Mai always leaves when things are about to get crazy in the arcs that push him to be alone with the person that he's helping.
And in this situation, it's because previously, and I love that we also get to see this, because it's just the idea that we had been told up till now that the reason why he cared so much about the puberty syndrome stuff and whatnot was because he went through it, his sister went through it, and there you go, right?
Yep.
But that it hits different when you're told about something versus when you see something, right? And when we see him and we're like, oh yeah, Sakata. Oh wait, no, that's right. This was a while ago. He is a lot younger here, right? Oh yeah. No, he really doesn't know how to deal with this. And then someone just happens to come along who probably was dealing with their own stuff, right?
And was there every day he went to the beach.
That pillar for him, that consistency, that foundation, something that he can rely on, right? And then they tell him, you know what? This might be a blessing in disguise. Maybe, just maybe, because you've been able to see pain that people are experiencing that no one else will see, you'll be able to be kind in a way that no one else can be kind. Of course, after that, he would want to, he would take it up as his mantle, his solemn vow, his whatever, right? Yeah. Anytime puberty syndrome. All right, let's do this, right?
Let's go.
But now, it's not like those other times. It's not like those other times where you're the removed, steady individual that's now helping the other person. You are being that for Qaeda, but you are also the one that's dealing with your own situation right now. So,
yeah, and I think that's where kind of, Mai was like, I wish you would have told me about this sooner, is because this isn't just something that involves Qaeda, it's something that involves him.
Yep, and when he hurts, she hurts.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the connection point that we have in relationships, is that when someone is going through a struggle or pain or suffering or anything like that, it spreads. It's not something that is localized.
Yep, it's
the pain that the mother then experienced to the point where she snapped. That's because of the empathic connection that she has with her daughter.
Right.
It's in the way that her desire to be a nurturing force for her was just something where she couldn't even probably look at Qaeda. She's like there just looking at her clothes,
right,
and that was already too much for her.
Also,
and then also of course
Sakata
taking it upon his chest there.
And the other thing that I want to point out is that while the main perspective that I have is that this came from a place where Sakata's like, I wish I could bear the brunt of the burden, right? I take the hits, kind of a thing, right? The fact that he was also in a situation where he couldn't really does push it also into the potential self-harm area, even though it's all supernatural reasonings and stuff behind it, because there is emotions get all kinds of weird and crazy when you have that person close to you that is suffering and you can't help them. Oh, yeah. Because there's a part of you that wonders, but is there a way I could help them? Because maybe there's something I haven't tried yet. Oh, am I giving up on them? Oh, am I a terrible person for doing that? The times where I realize that I'm at my own limits of what I'm able to handle empathically, and then as a result of that start to cut myself off from that empathic connection in order to protect myself. Is that because I'm a terrible person?
Right. Or is that just because I'm just
I'm trying to protect myself, right? And am I actually or is there maybe, am I not quite at my limits yet, right? Could I maybe keep that up for a bit longer, a bit more, whatever.
These are all things that we experience, like Jacob and I experience. So I love that the show is going into this, and it's exploring it from the painful angle of the mom and the dad had to leave.
Right.
Like, let's be real here. You can't blame the dad for any of this.
No.
Like, you really can't.
No.
Like, the situation that's really tricky here is that you can't just bring an expert and have them live with Qaeda.
Right, because Qaeda's
going to be too scared, and that's going to make things probably worse.
Yep, even the doctors, even if they were dealing with an actual, non-puberty syndrome situation, when it comes right down to it, it's guesswork. It's very educated guesswork, but it's basically saying, I'm going to pattern match and stuff from the wealth of information that I have and try and help you get insight into the situation.
Right.
But they still don't actually fully perfectly know the situation, right? They're going to be doing the best they can, and it's really damn good. But sometimes there are situations where even the experts they're stumped. They're stumped. They have no idea what to do. right? They have no idea what's going on, right?
And this is the area where I love that we've had now 2 kind of diner conversations with the father
dad,
and Sakuta, is that the father has to be careful here because he's asking the son basically kind of probing "are you okay?" questions without trying to make it seem like he's worried or scared for him. But remember, Sakuta went to the doctors. The parents know about what happened to him. And they also are smart enough, especially the dad, because he's not dealing with a mental health crisis at the moment. Well, he is, but it's just that
he's actually handling it pretty well.
He's actually handling it okay. Well, we don't know
as best as you can.
As best as you can. But he knows that this happened directly after his wife broke down.
Yep.
So in some ways, him taking his wife, to another place is also trying to protect Sakuta.
Sure.
And I really like the angle in that it's saying like, hey, I'm going to be here for you, but I'm also going to be counting on you.
Right.
Because I can only handle her.
Yeah.
But I know you can't handle the 2 of them. But you seem to be building a connection again with Qaeda. Let's lean on each other and make this work. But the things of him like asking questions of like, hey, are you eating okay? That's a question that you ask someone that if they've if they're depressed or if they've self-harmed in some way. Because one of the one of the most subtle ways that you can find out if you're depressed, this is just I'm no doctor or anything, but you will intentionally eat worse.
Yes.
As a form of self-harm. Like it is actually a thing of where you think it's sometimes a comfort thing. And
but it might also be kind of like I despise myself right now. But it also
might just be I despise myself right now. And it can happen sometimes with intentionally like forcing yourself to eat too much.
Or not eat.
Or just not eating at all.
And it might not be like a forcing thing. Yeah, yeah, just I don't really have time.
I don't really feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just the appetite will be lost because...
It's a showing of where the priority is, right? And exactly. While there are definitely times where life puts in all sorts of priorities that can push things out of the way, it can also be a situation where you're not putting in the effort to maintain the priorities of you, taking care of you.
Yeah, exactly. So I just love that. And then also, you've got a girlfriend. I would love to meet her. Well, let's wait till things cool down.
Right, because even though the dad is doing his best to try and make it work, there would still be those feelings of you left me in Qaeda.
Yeah,
and
that is really hard to undo the pain of that.
Yep.
But the thing that I almost can feel in the dad here is the idea of him being like, oh my God, my son has a girlfriend. This is amazing.
Yeah, he's doing good.
I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. But I can't push.
Right.
I can't push.
Right.
I have to gain permission. I have to be gentle here.
And maybe I don't have to be quite as worried about him as I thought. I still will be. Right. Because he's my son and everything. Right. But I think.
Yeah. I just love those kinds of scenes because they're really powerful, and there's ways you can read between the lines that are totally not necessarily intentional by the creator, but they're very easy to because of how relatable the situation is.
One of the things that is that gets highlighted in these kinds of situations, or at least I'll speak from personal experience. It certainly did in my experience with my family and things like that. Is that then when you get those moments of like happiness where everything seems kind of okay, right?
Yeah.
Not things aren't going up in flames right this second.
Right.
You hold on to those because they are precious, because you're like, okay. All right, we might have respite for, an hour, right? And we're able to think about just literally anything else, right? We can all smile and laugh together for a bit before, the cold reminder
again,
comes back in, and it's like, okay, back we go,
I remember multiple times where my mom would be having an episode, and I just watched as people just put in their headphones. And they
closed doors,
and just hunker down. And I I still haven't fully gotten over a lot of that stuff there.
Yeah.
But I really like here how we've probably, I mean, there's no way they're going to give us a horrible ending, but like we're probably set up to have a very specific type of happy ending because Sakuta is directly mechanically tied to the problem as well.
Right,
with
because
his thing that he experienced.
Weirdly enough, because it's puberty syndrome, that can make it a lot easier to deal with. You know,
sure.
because then you can end up just having it be resolved.
Right,
Given the fact that this is so close to the end of the season, you know, it's probably going to be resolved in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not permanent. You know, in the next episode, right?
Yeah, and we kind of had a little bit of a cue as to what that will be. And I think that really is Shoko. With the thing of how she was always there
at the beach.
At the beach. That's the one thing actually about this whole episode that's the most unrealistic for me. Is the idea that every single day, like the zoo.
It's fantastical.
Yeah. And the lighting was, you know, very much kind of accentuating the idyllic, you know, nature of the scene.
Right.
And
which is why it had such an impact on him, because things like that just don't happen.
They don't. But I very much want to know what that's leading to for Sakuta.
Sure.
Because Sakuta has to be the final problem, like for just the story in general. Like Qaeda being the one that is the closest to him, and thus he's the most emotionally vulnerable to the pain and suffering of her puberty syndrome stuff. That makes it something that kind of segues nicely to him. But all the other situations in general, he's been able to remain in some ways a little bit emotionally distant so that he can kind of be curt and like straightforward with like, hey, here's the thing that makes sense to do. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, and, you know, then, you know, he helps them out.
Right.
But this one
probably isn't so simple.
1-2, you know, that right hook.
I'll tell you. But that whole thing with the pandas in the zoo and the year pass and everything, that was inspired. That was inspired. It was a strong offensive. It's one of those things where it's this is kind of the benefit of the fact that this is being relegated to an arc rather than, you know, something that's been going on for, you know, 8 or 9 years, right?
Yeah.
Is that when it resurges, he's got that fight in him, right? You know, and he's like, okay, all right.
And he recognized, how to act.
Right, and he's like, okay, I'll get her to school at night, shortcut, zoo first. Awesome,
well,
all right.
Well, I wanted to bring up something here that I think is rather telling. Remember how she had a list of things that she wanted to do in the journal, right? Well, when she was asked afterwards, like, we can celebrate here, what is the thing that you most want to do?
Right.
And she's like, pudding. And it's like, well, can't you dream a little bigger than that?
Big pudding, yeah.
Big pudding. Now, the reason why I knew that she was going to say big pudding was because, no, she can't dream any bigger than that. She's not allowed to. And then when he was like, how about we see the pandas? And she's like, that's number 2. What he translated out of that was, no.
I don't get to do that.
I don't get to do that, or I'm too scared to do that.
Right.
I won't choose that of my own accord. So he geniusly decided, no, screw that then.
We're doing it.
You want the pandas, but there's something holding you back. So we're going to go do the pandas thing.
Yep.
And it was actually the thing that she wanted even more than pudding or going to school or anything like that. Because it literally like awoke
it gave her new life. Like it's the thing where when life has been smacking you upside the head, especially if it's in a very particular area and you think like, oh, this is something I can't beat, but I feel like maybe I could, right? You know? There can be this thing where you stop dreaming for the things that you really want because you think it's unrealistic or whatever, you don't deserve it, can get into all kinds of complicated stuff. And the fact that she said that's number 2 is probably because I don't want pandas to be butted in on by number 1. By the thing that I feel like I need to do, have to do, you know, should do whatever,
I have to
right?
do it
By the
quickly,
problem. Yeah, I have to do it quickly.
Right,
You know,
right.
because who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll lose my memories, like I heard my brother saying, and then suddenly the progress that I've been making will be for nothing, right? I'll reset.
Yeah. Okay. This is a hell of an episode and a hell of a penultimate episode for a season that does have a movie afterwards.
Right, which we'll be watching.
I'm very excited to see
seen that,
if the movie is an entirely different, you know, situation. If it's more of a
I want my Sakata
or something.
like just good stuff, you know.
Yeah, I want it to be at the very least if it's something where in the end of this season here, we get basically the resolution of Qaeda's situation, but it's basically we don't fully get into maybe Sakata's thing, that the movie then explores that.
Sure.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.